Hello everyone, and thanks for tuning in here on houseofsparky.com with Kevin Redfern. I'm Matt Venezia. We're going to talk a little bit about ASU football. 2 weeks into fall camp here in Tempe, and the biggest thing that's standing out is the quarterback battle now that Jaden Daniels has moved on in the transfer portal to LSU, and that brought in Florida transfer Emory Jones as well as Alabama quarterback transfer Paul Tyson. Kevin, through these 2 weeks, what have you seen from both guys, and who is the leader in the clubhouse, if you will, to this point in camp?
Well, Tyson and Jones both coming from SEC schools in Florida and Alabama, but it's important to note Tyson, Emory Jones has had many more starting snaps than anyone in the quarterback room here at ASU, and you can kind of tell the way the ball zips out of Jones's hand, the way he commands the offense, his patience. But that's not a knock on Paul Tyson either. We've seen some good throws. Both of them have taken a lot of first-team reps. But if I were to pick right now, it looks like Emory Jones would be the guy taking snaps week one.
And I think that's important to note too. You said the experience. Clearly, Emory Jones has shown with his ability to be at Florida. He was the starter last year for the majority of the season. He has a lot more experience. He's played tougher competition. And with Paul, despite being at Alabama, didn't have any reps under his belt. So that'll be interesting for new offensive coordinator Glenn Thomas to make that decision here in the coming weeks as far as who's going to be under center week one here in Tempe against NAU. Now on the other side of the ball, Donnie Anderson, the defensive coordinator for ASU, has a lot of different pieces to work with in what everyone seems to consider probably the best unit that the Sun Devils have, offense versus defense. The defensive guys are returning the majority of the guys, and they seem to be the most complete group so far.
Yeah, and it's a nice mixture of guys who are returning, leaders from the past, and transfers. On the transfer side, we've seen Nesta Jade Silvera on the defensive line stand out. Also the length of the cornerback row Torrance. But that doesn't go to show without some of the guys who have been here. Merlin Robertson, Kyle Soley, Michael Matus, they will still be making an impact on the defensive side of the ball. The depth continues to be a question, but the coaches are happy with it right now at all three levels of the defense.
Well, I would definitely say we're seeing a lot of energy. Everyone seems to be excited here at camp, and especially those defenders. They've had the majority of the good days here at practice. On Wednesday, it looked like the offense finally had themselves a really good day, but for the most part, the defense has been winning the battles head-to-head, 11-on-11, as well as 7-on-7. Now, we've talked about offense, we've talked about defense. The biggest takeaways for you, Kevin, with those new guys, what does it have to be ahead of NAU in a couple of weeks?
Well, I think it's going to be winning the line of scrimmage. We know on the defensive side of the ball, the defensive line, Coach Rob Rodriguez's group, is the deepest and it is the strongest. How that's going to translate to the offensive side of the ball, the offensive line, that's to be determined. I think that's probably the second biggest storyline outside of the quarterback. Emmett Boley's taking the snaps at left tackle, who's been a transfer. We know Ladarius Henderson is going to be a mainstay at left guard. On the right side, looks like it's going to be Chris Martinez and Des Holmes. They look strong in pass pro. They look like they're starting to learn the running game as well. But how they'll match up against an actual full-speed defense, we'll see in a couple weeks here against NAU.
It's going to be cool to watch, and they're going to be leading the ways for the guys that I'm most excited about, the running back group. You have Daniel Nagata returning. He should be getting the majority of the snaps, but not to mention also for ASU, the transfer in from Wyoming. He was a lead rusher over there last season. Now he makes his way into the Pac-12, and Valladay is going to be a lot of fun to watch when he gets the football, both in the ground game and the passing game. But for now, we can only just spectate and watch and hope for the best, as we're only just a couple weeks away, as the Sun Devils are 2 weeks in to fall camp here in Tempe. For Kevin Redfern, this has been Matt Venezia with houseofsparky.com. We'll have more coming for you in these weeks leading up to week one here at Sun Devil Stadium against NAU.